Alright, so as I reviewed your notebooks, I see some of you do not have what you need to have just yet. So this is page 56. On page 56, you should have a tab. You should have the 8.2 Sustainable Ecosystems Standards, and you should have this written as your table of contents. If you don't have that, you need to make that correction, and that you need to add that on pages 56 and 57. If you need the tab or the standards, they will be available to you up on the lab table. The next page is the rubric. So this is page 58, and you should have the rubric there. Again, if you need a rubric, they'll be available on the lab table. And then on this page, you need to write the word comments. That's page 59. C-O-M-M-E-N-T-S, comments. On the next page, page 60, you need to have these questions written. What makes a sturgeon habitat? How do they reproduce? How often do they reproduce? The main question is, why is the sturgeon so hard to help? What does the sturgeon need help with? And how long do they live? Feel free to pause the video if you need to get that written down. The next page, this is page 61, is what can we do to help the sturgeon? How can we help inform the public? And what has been done already? Please make 61 look like this. Okay, if you turn the page, at the top of page 62 it should say engage. Question number 1 is, what is a fossil? Question 2 is, what is the fossil record? Question 3 is, what does it mean to be extinct? Question 4 is, what does it mean to be extant? Question 5 is, what information do fossils give us? Question 6 is, what is a living fossil? And question 7 is, name 2 examples of living fossils. This information is also on a different video that you can find on your Google Classroom. You were to have written down the questions and answered them. Page 63 should be Science Notebook number 1, Sturgeon is a living fossil. And you should have taken those animals or organisms that we had, and you should have put them in some sort of chart like this. If you do not have a chart like this, on page 63, please pause the video and copy this down. Here is a list of the organisms oldest to youngest on the fossil record. So cyanobacteria would have appeared first on the fossil record, whereas the Laotian rock rat was last. If you don't have that written down, please pause the video and write it down. Page 64. On page 64, we spent quite a bit of time going over the different eras. If you do not have this written down, please take the time to write it down. Pause the video as you need to. Page 65, still Science Notebook number 1, Sturgeon is a living fossil. These are notes that we took. These are available on Google Classroom. I believe these notes are printed there if you want to look them up. It might take a little bit of doing and looking on your part, however, I'm sure that you can find them. This needs to be written on page 65. On page 66 is your timeline. Everyone should have a timeline from the article on sturgeon that we went over. And half of the dates should have pictures that go along with them. On this page, page 67, we're going to put our graph once you get it graded in math.